Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. In this video, I'm going to focus on why prospects ignore you. You had a great meeting, great conversation, and suddenly, silence. This is really frustrating. I'm going to show you the 5 reasons why they ignore you and what you can do about it. Let's go. So the first reason why you are being ignored by your prospect is the fact that there is no pain. If there is no pain present, then the prospect is most likely not going to do anything about it. They are not going to invest. What do I mean by investing? Aren't they just buying something? No, because every time a business buys something, it's a pretty big deal. It's an investment in time and energy. A lot of people need to agree. They have to decide, they have to compare, they have to find the budget, they have to make sure there's a business case, everything makes sense. It's a pretty big decision. So just like when you have a sales process, they have a buying process. So if they're going to spend and invest all this energy and time, they better make sure that this is worth it. And what makes it worth it is if it can remove a big pain. The bigger the better. If they have a problem in the business, something that really bothers them, they are going to do something about it. The money follows the problem, right? The money follows the pain. You want to make sure that there's always a pain present in your opportunities. If there is a pain and you can articulate the pain points and make sure the prospects validates those pain points for you, then you have a solid foundation underneath your opportunity. So if there is no pain, it becomes a nice to have conversation, not a need to have conversation. So you need to ask good questions and make sure that from the start, you always try to figure out where are the pain points. You do your discovery, you ask relevant questions, you try to be genuinely solving a problem for the prospect. If you don't have that type of conversation, you end up being a nice to have person, and when you call and send them emails and try to follow up, you are the lowest priority. So no pain could be one of the reasons why you're being ignored. If you're new to the channel, my name is Red, and I'm basically trying to become your favorite sales coach. The second reason is not a priority. When the issue is not a priority, then you risk being ignored. Because there's a difference between having a pain and prioritizing the pain. Some prospects will actually tolerate a certain level of pain. So even if there is a problem, there is a pain, there is budget, but they're not going to prioritize it. Why? Because this is about the timeline. If they have a certain amount of people to handle a certain amount of change and initiatives, they simply don't have the time to execute on whatever is being presented, even if it makes sense and it can solve a problem. So is this a priority or is it not? And if not, you will feel ignored because it's not going to be handled immediately. There's no sense of urgency. There are other things that are more important to them. You need to understand the dynamics of priority. Every company has to prioritize. It's just a must. And you typically talk to leaders, and leaders have to prioritize. Okay? It's just a necessary thing. So what you can do is to already in the beginning, if you can establish there is a pain, don't stop there. Try to figure out, is this a priority? When do you think this is going to happen? Is it going to happen soon? Maybe later? Or maybe in the future? So what's your perspective on this as a prospect? So you're the prospect, it's your business, it's your problem that you're trying to solve. We have established that, but when are you going to solve it? That's a very important question. That will give you an idea of how prioritized this issue is. So if it's not a priority, maybe that's the reason why you are being ignored. Number 3, no respect. If the prospect doesn't respect you as a representative, then they might not reply and answer your calls. I coach a lot of salespeople and I often see a pattern. Sales reps forget to establish their authority. It's really important to establish your authority in all your conversations with the prospect. And you actually have to do this from the beginning. If they perceive you as someone who always has time, always serving, never questioning anything, never challenging anything, just a yes person all the time, well, they're not going to have respect for you, because you're most likely dealing with managers, leaders, directors, and they are people of authority. And this has nothing to do with age or experience. It's just a simple understanding of being on their level. You have to act like them because you are a manager as well. Typically, a sales rep has a title called account manager or key account manager. You know, there's a reason why the manager part is in the title, because there is a component of leadership in a sales role. You have to express and signal to the prospect that you are protective of your time, that you're not there to waste your time. Your time is as valuable as their time. If you don't respect your time, they're not going to respect your time. How you can do this in a good way, in a balanced way, is to always qualify your opportunities. And you do this from the beginning. You ask the hard questions, like, is there a pain or not? Because if there is no pain, maybe it's not worth investing time in this. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my own time. So it could also be something about making sure that you have access to talking to all the important stakeholders in this situation. If you're not allowed to talk to any stakeholders, then maybe this is not a good opportunity. Something is going on that you're not comfortable with. Explain these things to the prospect, that you are protective of your time, you are fully committed if the prospect is also committed. It could be something like lack of challenge, like if you don't challenge the customer at all and you always say yes to everything, well, that doesn't show an independent person with authority. Someone with authority will say, listen, I know where you're going, I know what you're trying to achieve, but it's actually the wrong way to achieve it. I've seen this because I've done this with many other companies, and we typically see that it's better to do it in another way. Are you open to hearing about that? You have to challenge a little bit, you have to protect your time, you have to qualify, not waste anyone's time. By doing that, you establish authority. And if you do that in a balanced way, people will respect you. I've seen this 1,000 times before. It can feel a little out of the comfort zone. I understand that, because as a sales rep, you try to always serve and be there and help, and you're always there, you're always on. And you actually don't want to do that in sales. You want to balance that. Yes, you are a person of service. Yes, you have a great attitude, always helping, but you're also a person that has some level of authority. If they respect you from the beginning, they will respect you throughout the sales process. And if they don't respect you, maybe that's the reason why they are ignoring you right now. Number 4, no next step. This is a typical problem. I see it all the time when I coach people. They don't secure a next step. If you fail at that, you will end up in a situation where you constantly have to chase the prospect. You then have to make the next step happen, and this is really frustrating, especially if they don't respond to your emails or your calls and you feel ignored. Then all the negative thoughts will come in and disturb you. This is really opening the door for negative energy. You don't want that in a sales process. What you want to do is to constantly make sure there's a next step. So in the end of every meeting, or it could be online, physical, or just a call, whenever you finish a conversation, you always ask, what is the next step? And you make this next step a small appointment. You put it in the calendar. Okay, I'm gonna call you Thursday noon. Agree? Agree. Check. You have to get that accept from the prospect, because then it becomes a small appointment and you can then follow up. If you don't do that, what happens is you constantly follow up blindly. Like even if you had a great meeting, everything felt good, but suddenly, when should I follow up? Today, tomorrow? What is too soon, too late? I don't know, you have no visibility. But if you agree already on a next step and you put it in the calendar, make it a small appointment, then you can just forget about it and pick it up when the day comes. This makes it easier for you, and you avoid becoming this annoying sales rep who's constantly calling at the wrong moment. People could be on vacation and you don't know. People could be busy with an acquisition or something else really important, and you keep calling them at the wrong moment. That kind of takes away a little bit of your authority. So secure the next step. And if you get like this wobbly, weird answer, like there is no next step, and they really try to avoid a next step, then that is actually a warning to you, because there could be an underlying reason why they don't want to commit to the process. And that's back to the qualifying part. Well, then maybe this opportunity is maybe not that qualified. Maybe there is no pain, there is no priority. It could be the reason. So you want to make sure that you secure the next step, and if there is no next step, figure out why they're not committing to the process, okay? Maybe, just maybe, that's the reason why you're being ignored. And finally, number 5, no time. They ignore you because they don't have time. This happens. Prospects can be really, really busy. You're typically talking to leaders, people with authority and responsibility. Sometimes they just don't have the time. They have the pain, they have the budget, it is a priority, and still something can disrupt them and completely suck the time out of them. That's a real issue. I know this because I've been on the other side as a marketing manager, as a business owner for many years. Sometimes you really want to do this. You have a great salesperson in the other end, you have the budget, you want to do it, but you just don't have the time. And you're looking at your emails and you're seeing those unanswered phone calls, etc., but you just don't have the time because other things are more critical. What you can do about this is to simply just make it easy for the prospect to just ping you. Like, it could be just a simple question. Don't give them long emails, long voicemails. It's not going to happen. If they're busy, they don't have time, they're not going to reply. So you could send them a text or an email, just a one-liner. I imagine you are busy. When should we talk again? ? Like one simple phrase. It'll make it easier for them to just reply Thursday or Friday or something like that next week. To make it easier for people. We all know this feeling of sometimes just being overwhelmed with a lot of things on our table, and we just need to prioritize. And this is not personal, it's just the way things are. So sometimes it is actually lack of time, and that's perfectly fine. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments. Please subscribe. I have much more coming up. See you in the next one.